I suppose it's my turn. Welcome to Doctor Who Rewind, an unofficial and unprofessional rewatch podcast where I, Tyrese, and my friend Katie, hello, it's 2 pints and Katie, watch and discuss episodes of Doctor Who, starting with the revival in 2005. Once we complete that, we'll backtrack to the 60s and talk about classic Who. In between seasons, we'll discuss extended media, things like books, games, Big Finish,
audio adventures.
It was my week, you bitch. I'm going to drop kick you in the nose.
Do it.
And then what will you do?
It'll be drop kicked, I guess. Anyway, Smith and Jones.
Smith and Jones. What do you think about this episode in a general?
Oh my god, it's so fucking good, man.
It is
It's such a good episode.
We introduce our new companion, Martha Jones, played by Freema Agyeman. She is working at a hospital. She's a student. Student working at a hospital.
Student doctor, yeah.
Yeah, working at a hospital. Hospital goes to the moon, big rhino monsters, and a bloodthirsty woman. Which is all the women I've met. No, I'm kidding. Only the cool ones are bloodthirsty. Cool women. The cool women are out for blood.
Regular women, not interested in how you bleed.
Gross.
Cool women, however.
Yeah. So we start. Martha is walking down the street, and the doctor just sees her and interrupts her. She's on the phone.
This is a really good opening, I think.
It's excellent because the thing that we have with Rose is we get the first episode is very in Rose's because this is our first companion since Rose, I guess.
Yeah.
That Rose is at home. The doctor finds her at her home, and we get introduced to Mickey and the family sort of that way. This is like a crash course in Martha's family.
This is right in, yeah.
The phone call of, that's my sister, hang on, that's my brother, hang on, that's my dad.
Mum, my dad.
Yeah. It's such a good way to bring in a companion and their family.
I think that when you first meet Rose, like when we first meet Rose, I mean, it's like her at work and her doing this, that and the other. And the introduction to Martha is very similar, but I think one of the things that sort of like makes it stand out is that, you know, like she's kind of like, oh God, I don't know how to word this, but I mean like she's more put together than Rose is.
Well, I mean, I guess Rose is sort of working paycheck to paycheck. She's at this horrible job and then she gets out and goes to the thing. Martha clearly has a career aspiration
Rose
and a goal. Which
feels very like lost and just searching for the thing, whereas with Martha it's more kind of like because you can tell from the way that she's juggling these phone calls, she's speaking to these people, that she's like sort of the voice of reason, I guess.
Yes,
like
she's the straight man of the thing, the straight woman of the thing. And I don't mean that as in, you know, like in pee-pee.
No. How old? Okay, question. I know we spoke about this with Donna. How old is Martha?
Definitely in her 20s.
Like, I would say like 23, 24, right?
Yeah, she's a med student, right? So
like you've got to have done like a couple of years of university. You got like some kind of like...
If you still have exams to do, you are definitely in your 20s probably. And also...
Because, I know that they say that courses to do like medical stuff are like, you know, like 5-6 years, like they are long courses. They go on a while. So.
Especially with like, I think like dentists and stuff have to go on like even longer, right?
Oh,
they
dude,
have to like do specialized things
stuff
about the mouth.
Well, you got to do that. You got to like learn about like the drugs that you need to mix and like the treatments. Mm-hmm. It's a long process.
Really cool though. This episode really snuck up on me. I don't know about you.
How so?
And that
just quality wise or just...
Yeah, quality was. Like, I knew I was going to watch it. I knew I enjoyed this episode. I know that it's like an intro to the season. Because I think that one of the good strengths about Doctor Who, or at least with Russell T Davies' Doctor Who, is you could start any season.
Yeah, you could.
I think that the way that maybe less so with season 2, with Rose being the carryover. But
even then, I still think you could.
You definitely could. But I think that this, introducing a new thing, even the Rose stuff is not ham-fisted enough where you go, I need to know what this is. You can go, oh, he has travelled with people before.
Yeah.
Well, that there's a bit of baggage that comes with it, and it's great. But I do think this works as just anyone's first episode. It really, I think, I've already discussed this with you just sort of off mic about how I was watching this and I was enjoying it. And the more that I watched it, the more I enjoyed it. And the more I enjoyed it, the more I was like, oh, this is like a hidden gem, like not a hidden gem, but it's
overlooked.
But yeah, but I think this whole season's overlooked, like I said last week.
Yeah.
That where I'm like, this is so good. And I don't think it's appreciated. I don't think a lot of Martha's season is appreciated enough, except for Blink and the human nature family of blood.
Yes.
Basically the end of the season, because the Master is also a big thing here. Spoiler alert, the Master's back. Way. I will say, Annalise can fuck off.
Her sister, right?
Annalise.
No, that's
Tish.
Tish, yeah.
Tish is the sister. No. Annalise is her dad's girlfriend.
Yeah.
Who is like,
hi, Martha. Hi.
Hi. Shut up.
Take me shopping, big boy. Like, fucking away, man.
Be quiet, you CBBC presenter. Preventer? Got to stop the CBBC, you know.
One of the things that I was thinking when I was watching this is I was like, yeah, Martha has the ideal journey into work here, because I don't know about you, right? But if I got to go to work and I was like, mate, right, I like walk in, like sign in, get me hairnet and shit, and I'm like, mate, right, you'll never fucking guess. I was like, right, my mum's phoning me, my dad's phoning me, it's all kicking off, and then some like fucking geezer just comes up to us and like takes his tie off like some absolute creep, and then some other fucking dude just in all leather. Some biker looking dude just shoulder checks us on the way in. The goss in the staff room would be unreal.
Well, I think it's weird that, because obviously we haven't seen the Doctor at this point, that Looker is in the street from Pokemon just getting undressed. That's like really strange to me.
That's so crazy. Tell me more about that.
I fucking hate you.
What's Looker from Pokemon doing this episode?
I don't know, but there's Ultra Beasts in here. Okay,
Rhyhorns.
Rhyhorns
out the door, dude.
On the schmoon. Oh, great. I don't know if you've got this in trivia. Maybe we'll go through it later, because I don't have them listed, but I just know there is a lot of Dracula references in this episode.
Yeah, right.
Have you got them on the trivia or not?
I don't, but
Dr. Stalker, basically.
Well, it said on the door that his name is B. Stalker, because apparently like Russell T Davies wanted to do like Mr. Stalker as a reference to like a previous character that he had written who was Mr. Stalker. But
Whitby.
Obviously in the everything of it.
Yeah.
It just came out as them being like, Dracula reference because she's a bloodsucker.
Yeah, which, by the way, it's not right now. There's a sound design thing later on in this episode when she plunges the straw into the Doctor's neck. There's a certain sort of pop sound that it makes. Not a fan. I hate it, actually.
Not at all.
I don't really want that. I love the Doctor in this episode, specifically as an introduction to him. The one bit of silliness we get. Oh, well, no, I'd say there's two sort of silly sections that I see with the Doctor. This first one isn't, I don't count it. When he talks about Ben Franklin, he's like, and then I flew the kite, and then I got electrocuted.
Yeah.
I just think that's funny and good.
Yeah.
And about you?
I like the bit afterwards where Mr. Stalker is like, perhaps an evaluation from psychiatric.
Yeah, as well. He mentions used to having a brother, and I'm like, what? Is that a thing that we see in Classic Who or not? It's just a...
No, I know they were doing a whole thing where it was like they put in the line later in this season about the Master.
The Master, yeah, I was thinking that. I've got that as a question mark, as I was like, you used to have a brother, the Master, because they have a thing about like not being like, brothers by like actual blood relation, but in terms of we are the last two.
Yeah.
Well,
that whole like we've been like friends for years. Yeah. With, the Doctor's oldest friend and all this kind of shit. Like it's very
going from like the like the phone calls and stuff as well, and also later on when Tish calls again, I think that Tish becomes like immediately likable. I think all her family is kind of endearing. They're not the main event of this episode by any means, obviously, but her family is great.
I think it definitely helps as well in having Martha like come out the gate as like a full character.
Yeah,
because you do such little work with it. It's just a couple phone calls. It's not like huge character pieces, but I'm like, I already get the gist of like who everyone is.
Yeah, I don't need everyone to be a character, but I need my new companion to have a life outside of the TARDIS. Yeah, that's like my main one. And there is a bit that I will get to later that really sort of gets to the core of that. The Doctor being in deep cover, I love that. Yeah. He's just in the hospital, because he explains later, like, I was just passing through, I didn't mean to. And I'm like, that is good. It's great that he just, sometimes he sees a thing and he just can't leave it alone.
Yeah,
wet paint sign syndrome.
Yeah, I do like episodes a lot more when it's just kind of like, we've stumbled upon, not like the TARDIS is picking up a distress signal, or like there's something, the psychic paper has a message. I like it when it's just kind of a case of like, something's not right here, let's find out what it is.
Yeah, because I think the overlooked thing about Doctor Who is not every, if you were to watch an episode where nothing went wrong, it would be boring. There are adventures like that where they just go to a place and everything is fine and it's a good sightseeing touristy thing. Yeah. But it would be boring to watch, and so we give you the adventures instead. And I think this is one of those things where the Doctor was like, I didn't intend on a bad thing happening, but between regular things happening, this is a bad.
Yeah. Well, sort of a topic change. Yep. We get a bit of Martha's theme here. What do you think about Martha's theme? I love it, great, man. It's so good.
It's so good. And I think it's one of those themes that we do get a bit of it in Runaway Bride, actually, we get a few hints of that and a few hints of things that I think are, whilst they are not 11 based, they are used repeatedly with 11 rather than with 10. And so they just seem more 11-y. That happened a lot in The Runaway Bride, where I just thought that a lot of the sound and music stuff was very 11. But this theme is so good. We also get a little bit of master music in here. I don't know if you noticed it.
Do we?
We do.
Ooh,
it's because the music and the build up to like Saxon and the master and that whole plot is like, it's more techno-y, I guess. I don't know how else to describe it. It's more synthesized. It's more whatever. But we do get a little bit of that later on. I don't think I have a timestamp for it, but it is so good that you just like, it's just a little bit of it, and I'm like,
there's a tease.
Yeah, and I'm like, I know what that is. I know where we're going with this later. Because I think the best thing is like hearing motifs throughout the season whenever a certain thing happens, and then when you hear the full song when the thing is happening, it's like, oh shit, you know. But you do hear that Martha's theme is good. It's very uniform-y. Flapper or slapper?
Flapper.
Flap her. No, maybe not. Maybe.
It's not until right at the end of this episode that we get the iconic Martha look. Because in my mind, the iconic Martha look is, you know, like the red leather jacket sort of thing, like
that's
that.
next, right?
Yeah, but it's like at the end.
Oh, the end of the episode.
Yeah, the end of this episode. Yeah,
that's what I
where she comes out of the party and she's like got the outfit. That's like
the leathery thing.
Yeah, that's the iconic Martha outfit, I think. But no, I think that Martha is very immediately endearing, and I think that is, you know,
I think it comes from her, like, you know, the first thing she says where she's like, well, we're breathing and the windows aren't airtight, and the doctor is like, that's a very good observation, actually.
Yeah.
I think we get it before that, actually, when the doctor is in the bed, where she skips looking at the chart, but she immediately realizes that he has two hearts, like from the stethoscope, and she like doesn't mention it, but she knows. But she knows, and it's like she will overlook the obvious and go to the next thing, which I think that kind of makes a good companion.
I think that one of the things as well that makes Martha sort of like not more interesting than Rose, I would say, but is that she can kind of hold her own a little bit. Like throughout this episode, she makes like some, like you say about the windows and stuff. Like she makes some observations. She feels like she is immediately more ready to be thrown into an adventure than like Rose is more willing, but Martha's more ready for it.
Yeah, I mean, because I mean, I feel like any other person, or like at least in writing, any other person would be like, this is a trick. Blah, blah. She is immediately like, it is space. We are on the moon. I don't think it's a trick. I think that is where we are. I think that is what's happening. Like, and she puts the dots together. She is like, you know, invasion of the mad plastic, which I don't think she actually mentions that, but like invasion of the mad plastic, you know, you've got the alien crashing into Big Ben, you've got the thing over the
what is it when she talks about aliens and she was like, oh, a few years ago, like but like, you know, after the past couple of things, you know, she's not
going to rule it out.
Yeah, and I'm like, it was what that the quote from Sherlock or whatever, where it's like, when you've something about like the whatever remains, however improbable, must be the solution or something that kind of feels like Martha's sort of like rationale about this, and I appreciate that.
See, my problem is whenever someone says the word Sherlock on its own, I think of the show, but if someone says Sherlock Holmes, I think of the books.
Yeah.
Imagine if I was like, no, I think of the RDJ movies.
As a person who has like never seen or read either.
Pretty good. The first book, the problem with Sherlock is at the very end, he's like, and tell me how you did it. And you get like 4 or 5 pages non-stop of like this villain being like, and then I did this, yeah. And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
I understand. But so that it sort of weans off that, at least for I've only read 3 books, but like they are good. They are, for when they were written.
I think I have the first one.
Superb for when they were written. I've got the cloth-bound ones somewhere up here. I've got paperback too. This is where my fault falls in of like having 2 copies of certain books. The hardcovers of Rhythm of War are out and they are purple and I don't have them yet. But Rhythm of War is the last one that I'm currently reading.
I noticed earlier that the book is on your shelf like it's a...
What book?
Our book.
Our book? Yeah,
like it's a...
That's my copy of it, that's why.
Why is it there?
Because it's my copy of it, so it goes.
Yeah, but I mean, why is it in there?
There was just a gap when I looked.
Oh, okay, cool.
Because I needed to separate the ones from the ones we have to give away still.
That's fair.
Because, God, I need to write 3 now. Gross. Anyway, the rain going up is cool because you can't fucking tell. You see like 2 shots of it
It is cool. I also like that they do a thing. In my brain, it's a very Doctor Who thing, I think. But when Martha's like in the staff room and she's on the phone to her sister, but then she's talking to the other woman. I can't remember her name, but like who was in the staff room with her. And
I've got the cast list though. Don't worry, we'll get to that after this.
Yes,
but yes.
And the lass who is like in the room is like, Martha, the rain's going up, and Tish is on the phone, and she's like, the rain's going up. It feels like a very Doctor Who thing where you have multiple people telling you the same piece of information. Just kind of like that feels like a Doctor Who thing to me. Cast list.
And with that, we'll go through this. So this was written by RTD, who normally does the pilots and the Christmas specials and the finales. Like that's normally where he does an episode or two in between, but like. And that's where he sort of lies. It was directed by Charlie Palmer. We obviously have David Tennant back as the Doctor, Freema Agyeman as Martha Jones, and not Adiola. Anne Reid as Florence Finnegan, who is the Plasmavore.
Yes.
Roy Marsden as Mr. Stoker. Adjo Andor.
Returning cast member.
Yeah, not a Catwoman this time. She is
she's full face on display this time.
Yeah. Gugu Mbatha Raw.
From Loki.
Tish?
Yeah.
Was she?
She's the judge.
Oh my God.
Was it? I can't remember what her name was in Loki.
Tish Jones.
But
Amos.
yeah, it's her.
Reggie Yates as Leo Jones.
I always forget it's Reggie Yates, you know.
Was he in sort of the thing?
He was a radio presenter for a while, I'm pretty sure.
That's cool.
For the BBC. Obviously BBC, but yeah.
Trevor Laird as Clive Jones. Kimmy Richards as Annalise. Yeah, great. Ben Wrighton as Morgenstern. I'm going to assume is that the Doctor?
That's the blonde Doctor. Yeah. You know, like the other dude. Yeah.
Who they assimilate his voice.
Yeah.
Vanita Rishi is Julia Swells, who you were talking about a minute ago, who gets like all nervous and stuff. Paul Casey is in a suit again.
Of course he
is. As per usual, Jadoon Captain. We love you, Paul Casey. Thank you for doing all of this. Nicholas Bridge is the voice of the Jadoon, and then there's a bunch of other people.
Because that's the thing. Was it like Rory Mears? Also credited as Jadoon Captain because apparently Paul Casey was not available for all of the shoot. So at some point they're like swapped out.
Awesome. That's so cool.
Yeah.
We've talked about, the Tinsy Wincy bit of Master Music is quite fast in. I think it is when they show the shot of the hospital not there. You know, it's like the crater sort of thing.
Yeah.
I think it's around there. I think one of the best things about this episode is in scope, it's kind of like a season finale sort of feel.
Oh yeah, well, like think about it.
But in the writing, it's not.
Well, we've got a location change for obviously from like not really, but like Earth to the moon. So you've got like a new planet. You've got like an alien race. It definitely feels like there is a lot of elements to this episode.
Yeah. Well, you've got the Plasmavore, the Jadoon. There is also some slabs involved, Then you've got the people who are on the moon now, and they're running out of oxygen. There's a lot of like moving pieces, and all of them are dealt with. We kind of forget about the running out of oxygen thing for a while until we just come back to it, and people are just like,
given like just the human inclination to panic. Jesus Christ!
Oh my
God, I would hate it if this was my shift.
I have this thing where if I don't have an inhaler on me, I will immediately need it because I'll freak out that I don't have one.
Yeah.
And even if I don't know that I don't have one, I'm fine. As soon as I realize I don't have one.
Yeah, then it's like, oh God.
Like, there's this thing. And like, if someone was said to me, like, you don't have an inhaler here, and I'm like, that's fine. And then they were like, but you're also running out of oxygen. I'd be like, like immediately.
It's the classic, like, you've left the oven on panic, right?
Oh, 100%.
Of where, like, I will go out of my house and I will be out of my house for however long. And then the second I think, like, oh God, did I make food earlier? Then I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
You know, like, immediately.
It's crazy. Typically, I will say, because Martha makes her little remark about, but they're in space now. Let's just say the rain goes up, they're in space, they're on the moon. That Martha says her thing about the windows not being airtight, and the Doctor is like, very good observation there, Mrs. Jones. And the Doctor is like just kind of a little bit mean to Julia.
He's a bit of a dick to her. When he's like, not like come with me, and he's like, not her though, she'd only slow us down.
But given the stakes and that they are running out of oxygen, I'm kind of okay with it.
Yeah, the last person that you want with you in a crisis is the person who is panicking, right?
Yeah.
Like,
so I'm kind of cool with it. So I let that one slide this time. Then they go out onto the balcony, right? That's what they do. I think one of the best things in this episode, like, in it's such a small thing, is that they are on the moon, they are running out of air, and Martha's whole response to this situation is, I've got a party tonight.
Yeah.
Because, like, human worry, there is something whenever else in the history of this show, I will give Amy Pond this, but no one else. There is no other human. Amy Pond goes out with 11, and she freaks out, and she doesn't really tell him until like a certain point. You're being real, aren't you?
Yeah.
But she goes like, I'm getting married in the morning. And that's so good. And in here we get the I've got a party tonight.
Yeah.
And it's just happening.
It's
here.
something about like separating the like what is going on from. It's still that like sort of Martha rationale that she has, right?
Well, yeah, but I also think it's like it's really good and relatable to the person watching it to be like, hey,
yeah,
are you facing that at me?
Yeah,
that's fine. I guess it wasn't quite at me. It was sort of down going, but it's cool. Don't worry about that. You can be real.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, I think it's just such a which in the Doctor would be like it's just sort of touch with reality where it's like that doesn't matter. Blah, blah, blah. Whereas Martha is like, I have a party tonight that my brother's 21st. I wanted to be there for him and all this, and that is like the motivation to get things sorted. It's not we need to save everyone. It's I have a thing to go to. And I said I would be there. I just think it's great. She also mentions Adiola and the Battle of Canary Wharf here.
Yeah, she does.
I had a cousin there. She didn't. She never made it out. And you know what?
I think there's something as well to be said for Martha's reaction to this when they go out. Was it? I don't know if it's when they go out into the balconies or when they open the windows, but isn't that the Doctor says like, "Oh, we might die," and then Martha says, "But we might not." Yeah,
yeah, it was right before they go out.
Yeah.
He's like, do you fancy a trip outside? And she's like, yeah, all right. And he's like, she doesn't think twice about it, which I think, again, is a companion thing of like, will you follow him?
Yeah. So it was like you get Doctor points for it, right?
I fucked the Jadoon, by the way, for starting the air timer before they'd even arrived. Like their countdown of how much air they have. They are breathing all through this hospital, and then about 10 minutes later, the Jadoon arrive. And not only do the Jadoon arrive, right? They show up. They park at least a 15 to 20 minute walk away.
Yeah.
When I look at that distance, I'm like, that's not a short walk.
Yeah, right? Even if you are like stomping in.
And you're clumping, right?
You are clumping all your way.
All the way there. And people are like wasting air this entire time. That's not fair.
Although to be fair, I suppose if there is anywhere you want to go down like that, it's a hospital, I guess. Like, because there's a part later when... they
have oxygen tanks. And
stuff, they have oxygen tanks. And I'm like, I'm sure that this obviously came in useful.
Yeah.
How does it going?
We have sort of breezed past it, but we do see, Florence, our plasmavore, earlier in the episode.
Yes.
She is the first person we see.
The salad woman.
Yeah, salad lady. She's like the first person we see before the Doctor, right?
Yeah.
Is it pre-Doctor?
Yeah, because they check out her and then they go over to check the Doctor.
Mm-hmm. But a little like dumb anecdote here.
Yes.
When I was rewatching this, I want to say like 2 years ago, 2021, I think it was. I was watching it and I hadn't seen it in a few years. And this is like my third rewatch in like as many years.
Yeah.
Which I don't normally do. But I was watching this one. I hadn't seen it in a few years. And like I was sat watching it with my girlfriend at the time. And I hadn't seen this in so long. But my long-term memory was still like trying to kick me a bit. And I was looking at Florence, knowing that she is the villain, knowing that like there's a little twist that goes on. And I went to her. I just was like, I don't know what she is, but it begins with a P. Right? And she was like, what? And I was like, I'm telling you.
Yeah, I promise.
I was like, I don't know the alien that she is, but it begins with a P. That's all I'm saying.
Per sound.
And then we get to the end, and she ends up being a plasmavore. And I was like, I told you it was a P. I'm not wrong. And she was like, you told me. I get like, obviously she is not excited. She doesn't care. Why would she?
Yeah.
But I was just like,
you get that little second of validation where you're like, well, I was right about it though.
You're going to lose your mind when we got to Gridlock and I was going, that begins with an M. And I had no idea. Still, we're watching this entire episode of Gridlock and I'm like, whatever is beneath
Listen,
there. I was like,
there's no such thing as the macra.
I was like, I know they are big crabs and I know they begin with the letter and that's all I knew. Yeah, like that's all I knew. And we get to the end and he's like, and they're like, what is it? And then you see the snippies come up and he's like, macra. And I was like, ah! I was like, I said it.
Like
I said
Leonardo DiCaprio meme.
And she just looked at me like I was the biggest freak on the planet. And I was like, yes, actually, correct.
Jacket around me, it's cold.
Yeah. Well, that was the macra. Well, I've put the heater on because it is cold. Good food break, though. How was your food?
Lovely.
Lovely?
Yeah.
Lovely and delicious?
I enjoyed it. It's delicious.
I hope so, because if my mum's a bad chef, I've been watching a lot of Kitchen Nightmares. I'm learning a lot, not about cooking, about shouting at people.
I know, so fuck real good now.
Yeah. Like, she's like, oh, it's spag bol. I like smash the thing, like, fucking raw. And she's like, no, I cooked that. I'm like, yeah, well. Embarrassment.
I enjoyed the garlic bread. I think we should normalise garlic bread as a meal.
Just on its own?
Yeah.
Well, you can get like pizza garlic bread. So
tomato garlic bread.
I can't say their name, but someone that I know used to get that all the time. Is it? I've never had it, you know.
It's.
But I'm like, you know, I've rubbed tomato all over garlic bread.
I'll tell you.
So I assume it's the same thing.
It's better than cheesy garlic bread. Controversial, I know, but like.
What if you had both of them? That's just a pizza with a garlic bread base,
yeah.
Right?
Do you know what's weird? When I was at home, when I was at my mother's house a while ago.
Let's do this sidetrack.
She was ordering some food. And, you know, like when you order a pizza and it's like, oh, do you want like stuffed crust or regular crust or extras or shit like that? It was like, what do you want as the base? And the options were like, obviously tomato, barbecue. There's some like spicy tomato base or garlic base. And I was like, garlic base? And my mum was like, yeah, get this. It's not actually garlic sauce as the base. It's just a regular tomato paste with garlic.
Okay, the plasmavore.
Yeah.
What do you think of the plasmavore?
It's a fun thing that I don't think I ever need to see again.
Yeah, I think that it's a very good, because I think that the stakes don't come from the stakes are like a consequence of the plasmavore being around, but I don't think the stakes are from her directly. The stakes are from being on the moon and the scariness of the Jaduna, who are just like eviscerating people for no reason.
Yeah. Shit, yeah.
Whereas she is just sort of along for the ride. I think she's a great low stakes villain with like a high stakes sort of consequence.
I like that we've got like alien hench people as well.
I like the slabs.
Yeah, I think that's like a fun thing.
Okay, so this is the one thing that I couldn't sort of take the space rhinos completely seriously in their slutty little leather skirts and their kinky little goth stompers. I was like
in it, right? Well, I'm like, Jadoon fit check. Let's go.
All right. Flapper or slapper? Neither. Dominatrix.
I think that, and I was thinking this when I was watching it, and I'm like, obviously this is like, what, 2007 now?
Yes.
And I'm like, yeah, they don't look so good. However, I will take a practical Jadoon. Yeah, just sometimes when their mouths are moving, you can tell it's like, you know.
They've got like 4 movements.
Yeah, settings. I can tell that it's like a rubber mask. But I'm like, I will take this 25 times over a CGI mess.
Oh, 100%.
Any day.
Even like their few lip poses that they have, their like expressions or whatever, I would still take that, because I can also sort of get the translation piece where I'm like, maybe they are still speaking Jadoon, but like there's a translator thing going on that changes it, and that's
which is a fun thing that they have.
Yeah, I think that, just going back to the plasma for a second, their straw is what are you doing?
Nothing. I think
their straw is like a super creative thing to turn something mundane into a weapon. I think that's so cool.
I'm like, having the blood like sucked out of your body through a straw in the neck.
Scary. That's
a new horrible thing to have happen to Doctor Who has unlocked. Because like the thing is, if you think about that, it's a straw. It's like a plastic straw. The suction.
Yeah.
Oh god, like everything about it is horrible to me.
Mm-hmm. Well, they push Morgenstern up against a wall, and they take the language,
assimilate Earth English.
I think this is one of the best callbacks in writing that I think this show ever has, in terms of like teaching an audience member who, you know, possibly is like 7 when I watched it, for example, like teaching them the rules and giving them a word that they don't quite know and switching it around, I think is really good. So that they do the whole I'll just go over it now because why not? They go like, oh, we're assimilating the language. And you watch it and you don't know what, like, even if you are 7 and you don't know what assimilate means, your brain is well enough to, you go, he wasn't speaking English before, but now he's taken on that thing.
Yeah.
And then later on, with the plasmavore, does the same thing with the doctor, and they go, oh, assimilated or whatever. And even if you don't know the meaning of the word, you can put those
context clues.
Yeah, you can go, isn't that what they said earlier?
Yeah.
And you go, when they took the language, oh, that means they've taken the bit of the thing. And then you sort of put it together like, oh, that's what's going on here.
As I was saying.
It's because, I mean, using the word assimilate is just a sci-fi jargon sometimes, but I know that it has an actual meaning. I don't think I know it's not made up, but like, it's such a good way to go. Kids might not know this word, so we'll pop it in here and we'll teach them.
As I was saying a couple of weeks ago, whatever, in the vein of Doctor Who being like a show for children that never talks down to children, which is, again, like in its roots of being educational, like originally, right? Like,
it's just, I just love the way that it teaches and uses established rules again to like show you a new thing, and you go, oh yeah, I know this from 30 minutes ago. We get rid of a lot of this as soon as RTD leaves, which is not like that's not me shitting on a Chibnall thing. That's just in general the show sort of goes away from that.
Yeah,
which is it's a poor thing.
It's a shame.
Yeah, when he does his explanation after this of like, I was just passing by. I promise I was just doing which is great. Where is it? Yeah, because I was just travelling past, I swear. I was just wondering. I wasn't looking for trouble, honestly, I wasn't. But I noticed these plasma coils around the hospital, and that lighting, that plasma coil, that's a plasma coil. Been building up for 2 days now, so I checked it. I thought something was going on inside. It turns out the plasma coils were the jejune up above. Like, that explanation I think is great. I'm like, yeah, he was just here. He was just dossing about, cutting about the hospital, throwing a few shapes here and there, kid. Sorry.
I hated that.
It's fine, you don't care. And that is sort of when, after this,
is this the radiation bit?
It's the radiation bit. It's where Martha walks in and goes, Mr. Stoker, and comes outside and she sees Florence with the straw,
still with like a tiny little drop of blood, like like just at the end,
and she just goes, kill her. And the slabs are like, they strut, by the way. Oh my god,
hell yeah, they do.
Like,
how they have been walking around this hospital in full leathers with helmets on, right? Isn't that like a lot of just like regular shops and stuff have policies where it's like no helmet, no service?
Like helmet and face covering things. I know that I went to a club not too long ago, and obviously when I had my long hair I was wearing a beanie a lot, and people were like, hey, they might not let you in with that, and I was like, why? And they were like, because on cameras it can cover your face, and then if if you do a crime,
I promise I'm not going to do any crimes. I just don't want my hair to be a mess.
I promise I'm only drinking Pepsi Max. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be the one doing crimes in here.
I have a Doctor Who podcast. I'm not a criminal.
That man in the club in a full puffer coat in the middle of a steamy, warm, sweaty place. Maybe he is the one doing the crimes. Maybe not me. That's my one red flag. If I see a dude in a club in a full coat, I'm like, I'm like, I know what you're doing.
Yeah.
We see you.
Caught in a club. Not about it.
Yeah, stop that. There's a courtroom for a reason. Like, take it off and put it over your arm. Or what we do is we normally know the staff and go, can you put this somewhere for us?
Yeah. My coat, please.
Anyway, well, when this happens and, Florence is like, kill her, and the slabs come after it and they just do a little, run, one of those.
Yeah.
I was watching it and this is like 20 minutes in, maybe 25 minutes, and I'm just like, this is just fun.
It's just a good time.
I'm like, it's well done and it's fun and I'm enjoying it.
Nice pace, nice tone.
And nothing is like making me go, grr. Like nothing's really bogging me down. And that's when I texted you and was like, this might be a 5.
I think that this, compared to New Earth.
Yes.
Obviously, like, I feel like Rose gets excluded from the conversation on account of this has to launch a whole show as opposed to just a season.
Yeah.
But this episode versus New Earth, like, as much as, I am the number one New Earth defender, but there is a big difference in a way that I think still very much like fits and very much works.
Well, New Earth sort of has to sell you on 10, right? More so than Christmas Invasion does. Whereas this instead is like, here is Martha, here is her potential as a companion, let's go with it. My note just here just says, the Doctor has a rad fetish. Do you get it?
No.
You don't actually get it?
No.
Oh, it's like radiation rads.
Oh, okay.
Because he keeps doing that.
I thought you were doing a Fallout thing.
No, he just keeps.
Oh, okay.
He just keeps getting radiated. He just can't stop. This is one of the silly doctor bits that I think works.
Yeah, barefoot on the moon.
Yeah. Well, even the bit before that where he's doing his little dance and he's putting it into his shoe.
Yeah.
Like, even then I'm like, yeah, this is fine.
One of the best parts about this to me is when the doctor's like, oh, when I say now, press the button. And Martha's like, what button? And then she turns around and there's just a file on the side that's like operator's manual.
This whole, because I mean, obviously he tosses his shoes away. And then he knacks his screwdriver up, doesn't he? And he's like, oh, my screwdriver, I love my screwdriver. And he tosses it, and I'm like, maybe don't just toss alien tech away.
Yeah, I wouldn't just be throwing that around.
Maybe like keep that in your pocket and put it in a recycling bin for later on, you know.
I love it when you got, like battery things. When you go to like a supermarket or something and there's just like a shitload of batteries. Yeah. It's like dispose of your batteries.
You just pops it in one of them.
No, I really like it when after he's messed the slab up.
Yeah.
And messed the slab up. he's like, oh, it's safe for you to come out. And then Martha takes 2 steps to the left and she's behind like just the little screen that they have for x-rays.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's not keeping you safe, babe.
No. I mean, well, it's meant to though, right?
It's meant to. Then why do my dentists have to fully leave the room when they x-ray my teeth?
Never had an x-ray.
You never had an x-ray at the dentist? It's horrible. They make you bite down on this thing, to get like the stuff. But it's got like a plastic thing that always digs in the roof of your mouth every time.
I'm going to tell you an x-ray story after this, actually.
Oh, okay.
So, after all this happens, I sort of come into one issue that I have, and it doesn't diminish the rating for me because rating is about enjoyment, so it's not gonna fuck with that. Like, do the Jadoon only know one thing about this woman, and that is that she is alien? They don't have pictures. They don't have names. I assume so. Yeah. All they know
is that she is
the alien.
Yeah.
And so it could have been the Doctor.
Well, because the Doctor says she could be a shape changer.
Yeah. But at the very least, they could be like, we know she is a plasmavore. That is what we are looking for.
But they say again that the Jadoon are thick, right? Which
maybe don't have those be your main police force of the galaxy key.
Part of it that sort of gets me about this is that it is when pre-radiation, when the Doctor and Martha are being chased by a slab and there is like a set of stairs and they run down the stairs, but then on the other side of the stairs, the Jadoon are coming up and they are like this close to them. Like they literally run right by them. And it's like, if I was the police, I'd probably be investigating the people who are running around the crime scene.
Yeah. Then they need to bide some time, and so, which by the way, not to be weird about it, not a great kiss.
They're full on.
It's just like a planted kiss, not like a. So there's 2 different types of kiss. Okay,
okay.
There's like you can plant a kiss on someone, which I think this works in like a platonic sense, in that they are just like.
Yeah,
about
like
it.
Lips touch.
It's just like bing. But there is lip touch and there's like lip that lock together and you're like, oh, that means a thing.
Yeah.
And and he's like, this doesn't mean anything, I promise. And they just sort of slam faces. Like that is the extent of their kiss here. And it's just not a big thing. I'm like, oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
It's not quite a horny kiss. And if you've experienced a horny kiss, you don't need to be told about what that is. It just is a thing.
It's a lived experience.
No, but
yeah,
you know it.
Yeah, I know the kiss.
There is a difference between a kiss and walk away and a kiss and let's go.
Yeah, and linger. You let it linger.
Please
you let it linger, baby.
You know I'm such a fool for you. You got me wrapped around your finger. Do you have to let it linger? Do you have to? Do you have to? I have to rewind. I'm not going to cut that, by the way.
Rewind album drop in never.
It's not.
Never.
Anyways, so the Doctor and Martha do the thing. They go, totally fry the screwdriver.
Yeah, when Martha's like, did that come from planet Zavirax? And I'm like, you're a doctor. You know medication.
That's what we put on our
on our herp.
When you gave me herpes, you scruffy.
You gave me herpes.
You gave me herpes.
You gave me them first.
I don't want to be known for that.
I don't want to be known for that.
Can I just say, mouth, by the way.
Cold sore variety.
Not the worst kind.
No, the kind where I have to go to the pub and drink a pint with a straw. No one let me.
Just one.
Just one.
I didn't mean to give you. I was like, you won't get herpes. And then like 2 days later, you sent me
I was like, shit, I've got herpes.
I bought you some Zavirax for that.
Oh, you did. Thank you. It took care of it.
Yeah.
Honestly, game changer.
Zavirax? Did you normally just cup?
Yeah, normally when I had a cold sore before, I'd be like, okay, I'll just deal with this till it's done and feel gross about it. Foie.
Yeah.
Canary foie.
Canary foie on that bitch. There is. I'm going to find it.
Okay.
This whole bit for me is delivered like a Lee Evans routine.
Yeah.
And that is when the doctor is, faking human to Florence.
Yeah.
And he says, have you seen them? There are these things, these great big space rhino things. I mean, rhinos from space. I'm on the moon. Great big space rhinos with guns on the moon. And I only came in for my bunions. Look, all fixed now. Perfectly good. Treatment. The nurses were lovely. I said to my wife I'd recommend this place to anyone. But they've been up on the moon. Did I mention the rhinos? I'm like, the entire... It's not necessarily the words that he says.
Delivery.
But the delivery. Because like the other night, just as a comfort thing, I watched Weird and Wonderful live at Wembley, which you probably don't know what that means. But it's one of the old Lee Evans specials from like 2002 maybe. Just after Live in Scotland, but just before the big XL tour 2005. But it's fine. I just know these things. I told you I was raising it and I wasn't lying. Like, it just, the whole thing screamed Lee Evans to me. And I was watching it and I was like, come on.
Yeah.
This has got the whole thing about it. So I think it's super cool when he just comes in and, acts a bit human.
Yeah.
Which is good because later on in the season, we get a bit more than acting human. And it's heartbreaking, actually.
Oh, truly traumatic.
I'm not going to be okay.
No, it'll be a sad one.
Yeah, it will be.
I like that in that whole scene where he'll be like, oh, I only came in for my bunions, and then afterwards he's like, oh yeah, I've been doing a postman for years. I've done geography. Haha, hence the bunions. Like every part of the lie is like
he tries to back it up.
Yeah, he's coming back around as if she's suddenly gonna be like, oh, okay.
Yeah, because he says, but hold on, I did geography GCSE. I passed that one. Doesn't that distance include the Earth? Yeah, great. Because he says, but isn't that magnetic resonance imaging thing like a ginormous sort of magnet? I did magnetics GCSE. Well, I failed, but all the same.
Yeah. No one's looking at your cover story, Doctor.
Yeah, don't worry. No one's gonna ratify all these things that you were saying.
No. Is it before this or is it after this? Because I think I've lost where we are in the episode a little bit here. But before that, when Martha says something about how the doctor says something about being an alien or whatever, and she's like, I'm still not convinced you're an alien. And I'm like, first of all, aside from the fact that he literally stands up to the Jadoons being like, alien, like when they scan him, aside from that thing, I'm like, this dude has just absorbed lethal radiation. He's got all these funky little gadgets. He's like, these are the space police. These are people made of leather. And you're like, this still isn't enough for me.
God, I'll try and find it, but it's difficult on this because all the writing just looks the same.
Control F.
Oh, yeah, so I like that, humans. I'm still not convinced you're alien, which I think that is by the water cooler.
Yeah, it is. Because it's I want to say it's just after the kiss, I think.
Yeah, it is. So I think it's after the radiation thing that she's like, I'm still not convinced you're an alien, which is weird. Very, very strange, actually.
I got to say, my notes for this episode are nowhere near as thorough as my notes for other episodes. Because I was just vibing. Yeah, I was just having a good time.
Then there is the ET department joke.
Ha ha.
I'll allow it. I don't hate it. I don't love it, but I don't hate it. And then that's when she plunges the straw into it and it makes that like a sound. And I was like,
no,
stop that. Stop it right now.
Like a flat puncture noise.
Yeah. God, what a Capri Sun he is.
Disgusting.
God, I would love it. And then the Jadoon clearly must have stormed into the room, and Martha, because she's not like, hey, scan them again. She takes it and she does it herself.
Mm.
And I just, I clearly was enjoying myself so much that I didn't write a note about that. I just wrote a note that says, gotcha, bitch. About the plasma ball. But then Florence sends a slab after an army of Jadoon and Martha, and the doctor's on the floor, and they I don't know how many Jadoon, but a few of them vaporize the slab all at once. I'm like, what did you think the slab was going to do?
Yeah, it's unarmed, right?
Yeah, and it's leather all the way through.
The best thing it can do is throw a hard punch.
And it would be like a robotic, like a meh.
Yeah, you'd have time to move. That was like the auto noise.
Yeah, that's all I could think. That's all I can think when I see these things. I'm like, is these guys not just basically
instead of plastic?
And it's like, yeah, there they are.
Yeah.
Then the Jadoon sort of Florence dies.
Yeah.
Florence dies. And the Jadoon very much so only do what they are paid to do. Once Florence is gone, Martha's like, okay, but you can't just leave us here. And they're like, we're done. And they walk away.
But it's another part of like Martha putting things together though, where, you know, she knows that Florence has like assimilated the Doctor, and she knows that the Doctor is not human. And then she knows to be like, oh, like scan her or whatever. Like it feels, you know, this whole time Martha is still sort of like, well, like a doctor, I guess, like diagnoses, you know, like piecing things together and shit, which is why, like, if I was in Martha's shoes, Jesus Christ, we'd be long dead.
I have a note here about Martha.
Yeah.
That I can't read. Can't read my own writing.
I mean, yeah, I was going to say, you wrote it, dude.
Put A-Y, Martha, and then there's another word that I can't make out. It's like musler? I can't read my own writing. Anyway, Martha passes out, okay? Martha gives David Tennant the wah-wah, the kissings. Is any... I don't want to ask this question, but I'm going to. Has anyone ever just blown straight into your mouth?
Not in like a jokey way, not in like a serious like CPR way.
Even as a jokey way, to the extent of like a... or like a... Look, okay, I'm just going to say, at one point, it was with an ex of mine, there was a kiss that was happening, and in the middle of it, for some reason, whatever reason, just... And I mean... Oh my God, the shock that like you go
it's horrible, isn't it?
You go like so you've had this experience.
Yeah.
That's all I could think of when the CPR was happening. I was like, oh, I know, like when you are passed out and you don't know it's happening, probably a fine thing, you know, it's bringing you back to life. Conscious, horrible thing. It's funny though. It's like, I'll be honest, it's almost like, you know, when someone yawns and you've put your finger in the mouth. Yeah, it's like level up. Yeah, from that.
It's like a violation. Yeah, but like you kind of like, whoa. It's more like, surprised.
That's the
like,
evolution.
Yeah,
is the into someone's mouth.
I like that this whole time, like Martha, because I think that you know, we said the oxygen thing sort of comes and goes, but throughout the episode you can see that Martha is a bit more like
tired,
throughout it and stuff. And I like this part at the end where just as she is about to, you know, she does a whole like, oh, 2 hearts like thing. This is why
she puts it together.
CPR,
that's why that beginning bit was important.
Yeah, this CPR wasn't working because she's got to do it in 2 hearts.
If she didn't listen to both hearts,
fucked,
dead.
But the oxygen dial is like going down, and it literally you see it right about to tick down, and she's like like to give to the Doctor, and I'm like, I like that, you know. I like just a fun little touch, even a small thing that's just like, hey, there's still stakes, by the way.
Yeah, and then there's the hero shot.
Yeah,
you know, when he's
in
carrying
the arms.
Which I think is pretty cool.
I love it actually
when he's carrying it, because like she sacrificed that breath, so he's going to carry her to safety. I love. And it's not even like a necessarily good thing, I guess, just in writing, when he's holding it and he's looking out the window and he's like, come on. Because this episode is so good. I think one of the things that like really, you know, hammers it home is if you get to the end of this episode and the Doctor is doing his come on, and you're just sitting there, then like it hasn't done its job. But if you're sitting there with him and you're going like, come on, please, like, come on. If he says that and you go, yes, come on, like, let's play, which it does, by the way. I was watching this and I was like, even though I knew, I was sitting there going, yes.
I think one of the things, and again, this is like linked back in with being like, oh, sticks, like, it's cool. Yeah. Is because at this point, like, there's no TARDIS. No. The TARDIS is on Earth. Like, this is really.
And no Sonic.
Yeah, this is all literally relying, like,
no shoes. No shoes, no Sonic, man. No TARDIS.
Lost it all.
No service.
But, like, at this point, there is nothing else that Martha or the Doctor can do. No. Like, it's like truly, it's out of their hands. They've done all they can. That's where the stakes come from, and I love it.
We get back home.
Yeah,
and she sees him go to the TARDIS, and then the TARDIS just vanishes, and she's like, what? And then you get your Saxon mention when she's at home getting ready for the party.
Yeah.
which is like fine. I'm like, all right, yeah, sure.
Oh, by the way, I love that the resolution for the MRI thing is just the doctor pulls a plug.
Yeah, he just pulls the wires.
He just pulls a plug.
He's like, the whole, it comes down to blue or red.
Yeah.
And he's like, red. Look at red.
Red for danger.
I mean, this whole family party and the argument that happens that takes it out into the street. Relatable?
I was going to say, I think it's like another thing that helps to have all of this feel real.
I'm like, yeah, I've been to those parties.
In it, right? I'm like, you get a lot of family in one place. You feed them some drinks, it's going to go down.
It's going to go south fast. And it makes, it's like early when Martha is on the balcony and she's like, I have a party tonight. Like, it just feels a lot more human, which is the stuff that we get rid of. Like, like as soon as RTD steps down, it's like we forget.
Right. These people have
like, it's not even, the problem isn't even like, oh, well, the parents don't matter. Amy Pond doesn't even have parents until she dreams them into existence at the end of the season. And even then, we never see them again, right?
I don't think they get named.
No.
I don't think they get named.
Oh, it's fine. Though.
She's like, my funny little dad, and then we just move on.
Yeah. Which looks like the Go Compare Man. It might be the Go Compare Man. I don't know. Just looks like it to me. And then the doctor just appears in an alleyway, which is weird.
Yeah.
It's kind of strange, actually. What are you doing?
Get a whole another fun little bigger on the inside, which is weird how 2 seasons with Rose feels like such a long time of like no one acknowledging the TARDIS, and then suddenly we get 2 bigger on the inside.
He mouths along to it as well when she says it.
As well.
What?
As a little improv.
Oh, him doing it?
Tennant, yeah.
It's that little trivia thing that you have.
Yeah, it's a little...
That's so good.
Yeah.
What a good bit.
Is it? I noticed.
Because that's the bit that I wrote a note that says just like reminds me of the Capaldi scene.
Yeah.
Of him being like, oh, I get to do this. Because like Donna shocked. She's not shocked by it in Partners in Crime, right? She doesn't do a... No,
she doesn't get that whole moment. But like you say, she's thrown right into it.
But this is until Amy. Until Amy now. This is like the last one, I guess, until Amy.
Does Wilf get a moment to do it, I think? Because he has the bit where he walks in, he's like, I thought it'd be cleaner.
Yeah, but he's not like wowed by it, I guess.
So another day.
God, Bernard Cribbins, I can't wait to see Wilf again, He's going to be in the 60th this year. His last acting credit too, right?
I'm going to cry.
Are we watching that one together, by the way?
Yeah, of course we are.
All right.
Of course we are.
All right.
We watched Power of the Doctor together. I can't have that be the note that we ended things on.
We watched a few episodes of this together when we first began the podcast.
Yeah, it's not the same though, is it? It's not new stuff.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Okay. Yeah. You need someone to lose your shit with is all you mean.
Yeah, that's true.
So you feel less insane when you go like, yeah, when the thing happens. I've just watched all of How I Met Your Mother again for the 15th time, and Neil Patrick Harris is in Doctor Who. I can't tell you that That's
Doctor Horrible?
My 2 favourite shows are meeting.
Doctor Who, Doctor Horrible. I can't wait for the next season where Courtney Cox guests.
Shut up. I can't have this.
Cougar Town Doctor Who crossover when?
Anyways, I need someone to flirt with me the way that Martha flirts with the Doctor inside the TARDIS.
Okay, sorry, before they get into the TARDIS, can we talk about the argument where...
I am putting my foot down.
Where Martha's mum goes, since when did you watch the news? You can't handle Quizmania?
That is a really like, to Annalise.
You fucking tell her.
And she's like, oh, I'm never talking to your family again. And... Because, I mean, to be fair, she is like, Martha, you're lying. And Martha is like, I can see why you would think that.
Yeah, because even Martha's like, not
it sounds insane.
Yeah, like I went to the moon.
Mm-hmm.
Which, by the way, a hell of a day. Like, you get up to go start your shift, accidentally get transported to the moon, do the whole moon adventure.
Die.
Yeah,
She died for a moment.
Fucking die, and then come home, and then it's like, oh shit, you got to get ready for your brother's 21st.
Yeah, I guess like a headband sort of the form thing that women sometimes wear when they're keeping their hair back while they do their face makeup.
Yeah,
do you like there's this?
Yeah, it's a headband.
Yeah, this look where you got like the headband and the dressing gown. Doing the you know the look.
I know the one.
You know the one. Men don't have that. We just look in the mirror, we shake our heads, go, oh, and then we leave.
To be fair, that is more in line with what I
mean, is that I can tell. Do you know what? We went to the pub today, and that is exactly what you were like. I'm gonna go to the toilet before we leave, and I was like, okay. I went upstairs to get my wallet out of my bag just in case I needed my ID, and I heard from the bathroom, oh,
yeah,
it was you.
Yeah,
men. Oh, we love chanting men. I wish you'd have said that and not me, because I know how that makes me sound. Happy Pride Month. I don't know if this one releases in... God, is this a July episode? Are we that... This is July. It's no longer Pride Month. Oh my God. It's June 1st for us right now. I hope you had a good Pride Month then, I guess. I hope it was good.
You were very proud.
I hope it was good.
I wasn't particularly proud this month.
It's the 1st.
Yeah.
Don't set us up like that.
I was super proud this whole time.
I wasn't good. I was bad. Anyways, Martha only going for sorry. So there's this flirty bit, right? And where is it? Where she's like, "You're the one that kissed me, and you will wear a tight suit, and then travel all the way across the universe just to ask me on a date." And he's like, "Stop it." And she's like, "For the record, I'm not remotely interested. I only go for humans."
Like, sure.
Right. 1, shut up, you're lying. 2, why doesn't someone speak to me like that? Not to sound desperate. And 3, that only humans line must sound really small-minded for someone like the Doctor.
Yeah, right?
Like, hearing someone say that, he must be like,
racist.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
well, yeah, I guess. I was thinking more prudish. Like, come on. We've had a Captain Jack Harkness on this ship who is back this season later on.
Yeah.
And I guess Torchwood too.
That's true.
Anyways, did you enjoy this episode, Kate?
I did. 5 out of 5,
5 out of
baby.
5 for me too.
I'm not gonna beat around the bush about it.
Super enjoyable, super good.
Fucking class. High recommend.
Follows its own rules, does a lot of good shit.
Yeah.
Martha's-
Interesting aliens. Cool
Martha's
setting.
great. The family's introduced in a very good way. Saxon's foreshadowed as he was in the last episode. We're all setting up for the finale already, and you have. Oh no! I saw it already, and I don't want it. Like, okay, Katie has gotten a meme up, and there is a meme of a bunch of men surrounding a small white girl on a sofa. It's a very well-known meme format.
If you know, you
Right?
know.
Yeah, if you know it, you know it. You've shown me this meme from afar. I haven't tilted the phone up yet. But from a distance, it looked like Yasmin Khan on a sofa. I don't like your face. Surrounded by a bunch of 13s. Am I right or wrong?
What?
Don't like...
Look at the phone.
Oh, fuck off. Oh, wait. Oh, is that a bunch of cosplayers?
Yeah, it was an official post from the BBC.
No, that's real Geordie in the middle then. That's not like a photoshopped, like a set.
The BBC, the Doctor Who account, whoever posted earlier about like, oh, like share your, the 60th
No,
anniversary. They shared a
Yasmin-
bunch of Geordie cosplayers.
No, yeah, okay, but Yasmin is like superimposed because that sofa is superimposed.
I was going to say, yeah, someone was like, please
She's got
edit
a
this.
border.
And then someone has now edited this.
Jesus Christ, have you got any trivia for us? Trivia for this episode, Katie? Have we got any?
That's Yazda Price.
That's Yazda Price.
Yeah, okay, so the MRI, I didn't check.
She's going to Poundland. Stop it. Anyways, trivia?
Yeah, I didn't check this myself. I just read it and
Okay,
cool. But apparently the MRI machine that Florence is using has the logo of the Union Aerospace Corporation from Doom.
So that's another. That's our second Doom thing, right?
sound
So it was
effects.
sound effects, yeah. Is that in Christmas Invasion?
I can't remember.
Oh well.
Also, although this is the first on-screen appearance of Martha, she actually debuted in the novella Made of Steel
Shut up.
by Terrence Dicks.
Shut up.
That was, I've not read it, but I can only assume it was just released before this, like after Martha had been announced, but before the episode aired. They'd started releasing novels. So although this is like her first appearance, technically it's not.
I repeat, shut up. like, okay, but at the end of the day,
yeah,
if this was shot, if they if it was after that, timeline wise, I don't care.
The Jadoon's blasters originally would boil away the skin of the people who they executed, but then they cut that because they were like,
Well, they turned to ash, kind of, right?
yeah, they sort of burn away still.
Mm-hmm. What was it before? It was the Sycorax, I guess, that turned people to skeletons. So I mean, it would be a bit.
That was pretty lethal as well.
Oh yeah, but I mean, it would just be like a bit like, oh, you're doing that thing again.
And then a shot, you may know the one when I say it, where the Doctor locks a door with a door lock, like the little, like nubby things on doors where you just think. It's just a shot where a hand does that when they are like running away from something. And apparently, originally in production, it was to be sonicked, and then they were like, "Oh fuck, the Doctor burned out the sonic earlier."
Yeah.
So they just had to quickly. It was the last shot for this episode that was filmed, so they could obey their own continuity. Yeah, it's not even David Tennant's hand; it's just some
dude,
just some geezer
with the jacket
locking a door.
on,
Yeah,
the jacket on,
to just like fill that.
Excellent. Is that everything?
That's that.
Cool. Well, we are DW Rewind everywhere. Let us know if you hated or loved this. I hope you loved it. And we'll see you next week for Shakespeare Code.
Yeah.
Maybe Torchwood's airing right now. We don't know.
Something's going on.
Maybe. Bye.
See ya.